David brought up a really interesting insight when he said that my wounded message is that I have to be successful. Mm-hmm. What would be your wounded message, and what does transformation to a new message, what would that be?
Mm-hmm. My wounding message is that I'm not safe. And so, and I don't really, it's interesting because when I really think about like how I learned that, it's a challenge for me because I don't feel like I grew up in a family that was unsafe. And so that's interesting, but I try to embrace that. And I think for me, it's just kind of shifting those thoughts of like, okay, I am safe. And David, I think in our relationship, he provides a lot of safety and security for me in lots of ways. And so that's been really healing for me.
We've reflected back on when we were dating and about to get engaged. You've talked about some of the challenges you were going through in your life and how you felt like God brought me into a place of helping those go away just because I gave you a different message that you were okay.
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
And you could trust yourself, and you didn't need to be in control of certain things like you thought.
Yes. Yep.
Wow. Okay, so I remember us having dinner a while back, and you said something that was so insightful. Bess brought it up in the car ride on the way home about how you said your relationship with your spouse should be the safest relationship you have on this earth.
Yes.
I totally agree, but I also think that majority of people married, it's not their safest relationship.
Which is incredibly sad.
But it could be their mother, it could be their best friend, it could be somebody else. Mm-hmm. So could you speak to that a little bit in terms of how helpful that could be inside of a marriage, just knowing that?
Mm-hmm. Well, first I want to acknowledge that it does make me sad that for some people, like, it's just not the case. You know, here you have this couple that...
But let me stop you right there, because what we've just been talking to up till now, if you put your wife on your pedestal, she's not the safest relationship.
No, she's not. She's not.
So I think that people kind of know this in the theoretical.
Right.
And they think, oh, that would be great. Right. And then all of a sudden there are these things that they're not cognizant of.
Right.
It's not self-aware at a conscious level that they're putting their wife on a pedestal that's hindering that relationship being the safest relationship on earth.
Yeah.
So I think that even though a lot of people, their spouse isn't their safest relationship, they want it to be and don't know why it isn't. So
yes, that's so true.
So
the transparency, right? Like, so when I finally could say to Betsie back then, okay, I can't have you on a pedestal. I need to tell you when something's wrong. And we've had to continue to grow in that. And the Enneagram the last 7-8 years has been so helpful for us to be able to be clearer in what's going on between the two of us in that way. Then you get to authenticity. You get to true truth. You're not deceiving yourself like, oh, she's perfect and it must be always my fault. That's a self-deception. You know, she's not deceiving me with that in our case. So yes, couples then can move towards that secure place with one another, which is the desire, right? Like you stand before a minister or an officiant and you say, I'm going to love you for the rest of my life. And it's the only relationship that we have. We've talked about this as a couple. The only relationship where a person consciously chooses to promise to unconditionally love the other person. We've not made that promise to our children. Like, we will because we're parents, but parents don't automatically have this promise. Children don't automatically have a promise to their parents to love them and be in relationship with them. We're the only two people to promise each other, I'm going to be in relationship with you for the rest of your life, and it's going to be unconditional to the best of my ability by God's grace. That is an incredibly secure place to start from theoretically, and now it's trying to practice that and live that out, and that you can find that place of security. And so we see that with each other. We see it in, even as you were talking about wounding messages, how we see that we are meant to be the first human answer to our wounding messages by being in each other's life. God ultimately is the healer. But that security comes when I bring safety to her, when she tells me I'm loved for who I am and not for what I do, not for my success. that breeds security between the two of us.
So God is using each of you as an instrument for healing to the
Without
other.
question.
Absolutely.
Without question.